Okay, so we'll continue now by setting up the HTML5 code for the footer. So we've ended our lower content, and we're going to go ahead and keep the footer within that wrap div. And in here we have a couple of things. One thing is chick branding. It looks like, I'm not zooming in. And then the next thing will be just a mini nav. This is not a major nav of any kind, so I'm not even going to give it the nav element. I'm going to give it a UL with an ID of social media links. And we have Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, YouTube. Okay, and then our last little section is going to be just an address. Okay. And you don't use the address, there is an address tag. That's not what what address tag is used for. So most of the time most of the recommendations I've seen have been just to put it in a paragraph. And I'm sure there are huge varying preferences in what to do with an address, an actual physical address, but for right now I'm going to leave it like so. I'll probably give each one of these, since they're going to be doing some unique things, I'm going to give them their own IDs. And I'm going to change this around up here. There. That way that's easier to spot. Okay, so now what we want to do is we need to put in, where do I want to start? I will start with the overall measuring my layout. Now, in the case of this, we have a background image, and I'm not going to play around with the background image. I'm more interested in getting as much of the other stuff in here as possible for you. Background image is easy enough to put in, and I would probably put that into the body tag, so I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to go with measuring this layout over here. There's a drop shadow on that, and over here. And then all I need to do is make sure I'm on pixels, have my info palette showing, or panel showing, and measure from edge to edge of the nav. The reason I'm doing that is it's the widest thing in here. So this is how wide do I want my wrapper to be, and the width on that is really wide. This is a very large layout. I think we had to take this down in size when all was said and done. But we're going to just honor and not worry about it. This is 1653. So wrap is going to get a style, ID of wrap. Oh, and we have to do the universal selector too. So I'll take care of both of these at the same time. New style sheet, because it's our first style. And this is the folder that I'm working in. And I'm going to give wrap a width of, what was that, 1653. And I'm not worried about a height on it, just want to give it width. And I want to give it a right and left margin to center it in the page on the browser. So auto. The other thing I want to do is to set up that universal selector while I'm thinking of it. So to zero out the margin and padding, so compound, star, and a box, padding of 0, margin of 0, apply, OK. And I'm going to just take the star and make sure it's up at the top. So right now we have pretty much nothing going on, just like so, and that's okay. Now what I would like to do is to, in the case of this, I'm going to I'm going to turn off my nav for right now. It's kind of a little bit of a complex layout, and I know what I want to do is I want my header to have a height on it with a little bit of extra background paper in it, and then I want my footer to do the same, and that way I can do a negative margin on a couple of things. So I'll show you what's going to happen here. So there's this overlapping effect happening, and in this case I'm going to see if that works. I'm probably going to have to position this, which is covered in your reading. And since that's the case, as I'm thinking this out, you know what, yeah, I am going to have to position this nav. Alright, so that changes the game plan just a little bit, but it'll make it easier on me in the long run. And so what I'm going to do is, this nav is literally going to sit on top, and it's mostly because of what we have going on here. I could handle it in a different way, but I think this is going to be the best way to go. And then these pictures are sitting, you know, there's a bunch of overlap happening. And so I am going to turn off pretty much everything except the background, and I'm going to click Option, Eyeball here, and I'm going to change my code just a little bit. We've got that wrap, and then we're going to have div ID of inner wrap, and then down here end wrap, and inner wrap. Okay, so inner wrap gets a width, and this one I'm going to measure from here to here, and I'm going to say that I am accurate. I may not be. This looks like it's 1307, so inner wrap is going to get a width of, and a margin right of auto, margin left of auto, so it stays centered within within the wrap. And then I'm going to open up my background folder here and look at what I've got going on and take off some stuff. Okay, that I need to leave. That I need to leave. Okay, and can I turn that off though? Yes, I think I can. Okay. Now, normally, if I were not trying to do this really fast, I would zoom in and make sure I have every last detail. But we're going to assume that that's everything. Now, the edges of the paper are not entirely smooth, and so there should be some, really there should be some see-through stuff here. And so unfortunately that means that it just being literal, I will have to send this out as a ping. I wouldn't advise doing this normally. This ends up being a large graphic. But I'm going to do copy merge so that I get this texture here, and I'm going to create a new document now. And that says it's 1311. So 1311 is a little different than what I measured. I'm going to go with that since we're not in a hurry, or we are in a hurry. And so I did edit, copy, merge, and I'm turning off my background layer, and I'm going to send this out. And let me just look at this really quickly here. Yeah. I might have a little too much on the left-hand side. If I were being fussy, I would go back and cut this out, or cut it back just a little bit, but we're going to go for it. So at this point, I see that, yeah, I'm not going to be able to live with that. It's 2.7 megs. So then I would have to, if you know, there's a lot of different solutions we could come up for with this, and I don't remember what we actually ended up doing. But I'm going to go ahead and hope that the edging on this is just not all that obvious when I send it out, because if I go ahead and not have semi-transparency just for this little roughage on the right and left, then I can send it out as a JPEG and save some space. So I'm going to copy merge and new document, Command N, Control N, and I'm going to send this thing out. And I'm going to go ahead and contradict myself just a little here. I'm going to take off the 2 pixels, put my width back to I got carried away there, didn't I? 1309. There. And hope that that's better when it goes out as a JPEG. So yeah, it's still really, really large at 70%. If I take it down to 47%, it's still a very large file, not preferable at all. Now we're down to 130. And I'm not going to fuss with it much more, but depending on your preferences, you could take this down even more and hopefully knock it way below 100. And so I'm going to save this, and one moment. I'm going to save this within my images folder and call it inner wrap. Well, I'm going to start with BG so I can find all my background images in the same place. And then inner wrap. And that way I know it's a background, and it is the one for the inner wrap div. And so now I will double click on this and go to background. And in this case, I am going to not allow it to repeat because it's a piece of paper. And really this isn't how we treated this exactly for the real build, but it does repeat some. And save all, and let's see here if we have anything yet. There may not be a whole lot, but there it is. And the reason things are funny is because this layout, the overall paper is, you know, the overall layout in there is really big. I may go ahead and take it down, but you can see it is centering, and so we have something now. Alright, on to a little more in the next video.